Hello and welcome to the 7 things you must have to succeed as a romance author. Today, USA Today bestselling author and contemporary romance author AJ Harmon is hosting our webinar. AJ, thank you for hosting this.
Well, this is going to be so much fun. I'm really excited that you're all joining us this evening. And I would like to introduce you to my personal digital dom. That's right, my husband and marketing strategist, the awesome Mr. Brad Harmon. So, if you would like to take control of your future as an author, if you want to be more successful marketing your books, if you want to save time and money getting it done, and if you desire to be part of a community of authors who have the same goals and dreams, and if you want the big paydays and lifestyle of a best-selling author, then you are in the right place.
Our promise to you this evening is, first of all, we're going to try to have some fun. We all work really hard to do what we do, and it's time to have a little bit of fun. So we're going to have some fun this evening, sharing with you what we've learned over the past 3 years, the 7 things you must have to succeed as a romance author in today's online market. Actually, it's going to be 8 because I'm trying to be a little bit more like AJ, and she's such an overachiever. 14 books and 4 novellas in 3 years. So I'm going to do 8 so I can look like a overachiever too. And if and only if you like what we've shared with you this evening in the webinar, and if you agree that we've done a good job and that we've been able to respect your time, then at the end, we're going to give you an opportunity to partner with us as we work together to implement what we've learned in this webinar. So, do our goals align? Great. Let's get started. AJ, some of the people on here may not know your story, but it will give us a firm foundation on what we're trying to accomplish here this evening. So quickly share it with us and let us know what you've done. And is that all right?
Oh, sure. I love to talk about myself. So here we go. So probably some of you have know a little bit about this, but you know, I've always loved to read, and I've always loved to read romance novels. Well, basically since I learned how to read. And I love Jane Austen. She's just like my #1 person. I love all of her books. I love everything about her writing. I love the Bronte sisters. I love all of those historical pieces. You know, when I was a teenager, I started reading a couple of more of the contemporary things. My Darling, My Hamburger was one that just I remember to this day. That's 30 years ago. And of course, there's Rosamund Pilcher, which I mean, if you want to learn how to write a novel, just read her books, and it's great. So, you know, I read every novel I could get my hands on. Yep, even those. So anyway, I married the closest thing I could find at the time to the man of my dreams. Sorry, honey. I mean, yes, I married the man of my dreams. You know, Mr. Darcy was completely fictional, and he was in the Regency period. Not that I wouldn't have loved to live in the Regency period, but, you know, I didn't quite make it that early. So I married Brad, and we began our family. We have 2 beautiful children, and I was living the happily ever after, you know, with my little brood. I did the soccer mom thing, but it actually wasn't soccer. It was tennis. It was basketball. It was track. It was science. It was computer camp. It was all of those things with my kids. And then my little babies, well, they just grew up. They got driver's licenses, and they ran away to college and ran away from their parents, and they just didn't need mom anymore. So what the hell was I supposed to do now? You know, I've always been good with numbers, and I've always been good with words, English and math. And so I ended up getting a bookkeeping and accounting, eventually an accounting job around the office. Some of the women and I kind of formed a little pseudo book club, and we would always talk about the books we were reading and, you know, who the hottest hunk was in the books, the book boyfriend. And of course, then the 50 Shades trilogy got really popular, and I was the only one in this little group who hadn't read it yet. So they pressured me and pressured me, and finally I caved and I read the book. And when I was the trilogy, and when I was done, they asked me how much I liked it, you know, and I said, oh, it was okay, you know, whatever. And, you know, my reaction was so lukewarm to the trilogy that, you know, you would have thought I was calling their mothers dirty names, and they came down on me like a pack of wolves on a bum lamb. And it was pretty painful. It's not that I hated the books. It's just that, you know, they didn't speak to me like they did to other people, and, you know, other books that I have absolutely loved. But, you know, it's apparently not a free country anymore. And if someone has an opinion different than yours, instead of listening politely, you know, you have to badger and bully them until they change their mind. And that's what they were doing to me. And finally I'd had enough, and I stomped my foot and I said, I could write a better love story in my sleep. And that kind of threw down the gauntlet, because they challenged me immediately and said, well, prove it. So, you know, I figured, hey, why not? Why not? I love romance novels. Let's see what I could do. So I began writing during my lunch hour, after dinner, and well into the middle of the night. Wherever I could find, you know, a free moment, I would write. You know, I'd put some real thought into this book too. What did I like in a romance novel? What was it that attracted me to particular books? Who was the perfect hero? Where should this modern fairy tale take place? And most importantly, who was my heroine? I was almost done with the book, and I'd let some friends read some of the chapters, and they thoroughly loved it, or at least they said they did. And, you know, they said that it was going to be a great book. So that's when I began really thinking about publishing and getting it finished and getting it off to a publisher. But, you know, when I was researching, in order to get a publisher look at your book, they all said that you had to have a literary agent. And then so I started looking into getting a literary agent, and they all said, well, in order to, you know, get an interview with a literary agent, you have to be a published author. I mean, it was a catch-22. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I realized at that point that if I was going to publish, I was pretty much in over my head, and I needed to tell my husband what I was doing and that I was writing a book and wanted to publish it. So one night, you know, during pillow talk, before going off to sleep, I told him that I was writing a romance novel and was thinking about getting it published. And, you know, his reaction was very positive. He just said, oh, great, you know, we'll just self-publish it on Amazon and I can help you with that. He'd been researching ways to do a business, a short business book. And, you know, it was like, hell, no big deal. And he just rolled over and went to sleep. Like, you know, there we go. So, I mean, that was just mean, because now my mind was racing with all kinds of ideas because I was going to be a published author. I mean, and that was just super exciting, and I couldn't sleep. So I ended up getting up out of bed that night and working for hours and hours on my book until I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore, and, you know, practically fell asleep on the keyboard. You know, the next evening when I came home from work, Brad said to me, so, you know, are you really writing a book? And I pulled out the manuscript that I had in my bag and said, yep, you know, I'm actually working on edits right now. Do you want to read it? And he's like, well, maybe not, maybe later, you know, I've got stuff to do, you know, what's for dinner? And that kind of pissed me off, but, you know, whatever. So when he came to bed later that evening, I was sitting in bed with my manuscript and my red pen, and you all know what I'm talking about. And I was editing, and you can hear my dog in the background. Sorry, there's probably a leaf blowing on the front lawn. But anyway, I offered to read him my manuscript, and he kind of grunted a little bit like, whatever. And so I started reading it out loud. And if you've never edited by reading out loud, I strongly suggest that you do that, because you catch so much stuff that you miss when you're just reading in your head. And before I knew it, he'd rolled over onto his side and he was listening to me, intently listening. I had his attention and he was hanging on every word. And we'd finished about, 5 chapters and he was kind of excited about it. So the next morning, he's all up in my face. And, I was kind of pissed off. But anyway, so he's like, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. Have you done any market research? Who's your target demographic? What are you buying? What are they buying? We'll publish this, but only as a test. If it goes well, we'll put some marketing money behind it. Have you done any product research? Who's your target market? Do they actually buy books? I mean, he was so damn annoying. So I was pretty irritated because he's a morning person and he's up and lively and ready to go. And I'm not a morning person, which is why I write well into the middle of the night. And so I just had enough. So I stomped my feet and I marched him through to what was then my little craft room with my shelves. And I showed him, the books. And I said, I am my target market. I've been doing product research all my life, and yes, I buy books. I just don't tell you that I buy books. So, I showed him. I said, here is my marketing study. I mean, here it is. People buy books. I promise you.
Whoa, hang on there. Before you paint me as a heartless capitalist American, which I am, there's a point to this. Most authors think of their books, as their creation, as their baby, as a work of art that should be worshipped by all, which may or may not be true. But to a writer who's trying to make a living off of their work, it has to become a product. And a product is something that must have an intended market that wants it and that can afford to buy it. You, the author, have to become the vendor. You must think about your book as a product and how you're going to get your intended market interested in that product enough to buy it. You're the vendor, you're the salesperson. You have to let the marketplace know you have a book, and you have to let them know why they can't live without it any longer. Amazon, Nook, iTunes, they're just the cashiers. They make sure that nobody walks out of the digital bookstore without paying for your book. And you share part of the profits with them for doing that, but they just distribute your books. They don't sell it. You have to sell your books. I have to sell your books. And I just wanted to make sure that this project was going to be something that was worth my time.
And that's why I have you, honey, because you are my vendor, so I can be the author. I'm lucky that I don't have to do both all by myself. So anyway, where was I? So that evening when I got home from my day job, my 9-to-5 day job, Brad had all the numbers put together. It's a $4.7 billion industry with my demographic making up around 50% of the market. And he said to me, I can't sell snake oil from an empty wagon. How quickly can you write 5 books? He was more excited about publishing my book than I was at that moment, and I was damn excited. So my son helped us with the cover and with the formatting. Brad did the marketing strategy, and I edited and re-edited and re-edited and re-edited and re-edited. You get the point. I re-edited my book. So finally, on November 17th, 2012, we pushed the publish button on Amazon Kindle publishing page, and then we waited. 10 hours later, it went live on Kindle, and I one-clicked to get the very first copy of my book. I then switched over to the Amazon KDP page to look at the stats, and it said that 3 books had been sold. 3! I sold 3 books! That means that 2 other people had bought my book. I cannot express how excited that was. I had made 99 cents as an author in my very first hour. But on the flip side of that, I'd also paid 99 cents to buy my book. But I was a published author.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. And our strategy was to have the book out for 2 weeks for 99 cents so that we could get some sales under our belt and get a few reviews. And then we were going to mark it up to $1.99 until Christmas. Then after Christmas, we were going to run a free promo to introduce book 2 in the series, which we published about 2 weeks before Christmas. That's right. She'd been writing since October, and she had published 2 books by December 10th.
I will never forget that weekend after Christmas when First Class to New York went free. Every time I refreshed that Amazon KDP page, the book counter jumped 5 to 10 books at a time. And I was refreshing like 3 or 4 times a minute. It was absolutely addicting. I watched that counter for hours. It's a Saturday. I was supposed to be doing laundry, mopping the floor. I did none of that. I sat at the computer and clicked refresh for hours. Millions and millions of women had gotten tablets, e-readers, iPads, for Christmas, and thousands of them were downloading my free book.
Yeah, you were pretty giddy. So often you'd run through and you'd tell me how many books had been downloaded. Then the free book started to pay off. Yeah, you started running through and the sales would jump up $5 to $10 every time you refreshed. And then not only were you giddy, I was starting to get pretty excited too. You were most giddy though when you got your very first review. Her first review was a 5-star review. A great book. Prepare to be up all night because you won't put it down. Then she got another review and another review and then another review. And then the reviews just started flooding in until the bubble burst. She got her first 1-star review. She came through. She was almost crying. Somebody didn't like my book. So I went through and I read the review. It said, bait and switch. This book is a cliffhanger. I love the book, but I will have to pay $2.99 for the rest of the story. She was trying to make us feel guilty about the fact that we were trying to make a living as an author. I just laughed. AJ was about to cry, and I was just laughing. I mean, this was a winner. Anytime somebody cares enough about a fictional character in a book enough to get that mad to post that kind of review, I mean, that's a victory.
But, I'll be honest, I did not do the cliffhanger as a marketing tactic. That just happened to be where that particular story ended, and it was the end of Janie's 2-week vacation to New York. In my lifetime, nobody's ever gotten there happily ever after, after only 2 weeks. Get real. I tried to make the story have a little bit of realism to it. But, it was pretty advantageous to leave it as a cliffhanger because, writing book 2 was just the continuation of their story. And it was a nice flow through for me. And of course, I was fortunate that I made my hero, Matt Latham, be the oldest of 7 brothers. So, writing more books in the series was just a given. I ended up with a 9-book series with a bonus novella that went into the box set. Brad said he couldn't sell from an empty wagon. So I had 2 of these books out in my first month as an author, First Class to New York and First Class to Portland.
Yeah, and then the cliffhanger started to pay off. We had over 11,000 downloads of First Class to New York on that weekend after Christmas. And 27% of the people that downloaded that bought First Class to Portland at $2.99 during the month of January. And so AJ went into work and she quit her job. And she's been writing full-time ever since. We've had some good sales months and we've had some bad sales months. Amazon has changed the rules of the game, at least 3 times that I can think of, and we've had to change and adapt. But AJ is making a living as an author because she writes great books and she has a marketing strategy.
We are very blessed. I admit it, we are blessed. But we worked hard to position ourselves to be blessed. So do you want to tell them about the happy, sad day?
Why don't you give your voice a rest and grab a quick sip of water, and I'll take over for a minute. Are you having fun? Did you enjoy AJ's stories? Do you want to hear about the happy, sad day? you can go to the chat screen on your window and you can type in if you're having fun and if you enjoyed her story. Good, thank you. It looks like one person's not having sound. You may want to try to log back in, log out and log back in. Okay, all right. Well, let's move on. I'm glad that you enjoyed the story. So let me tell you about our happy, sad day. Let's fast forward what it was about 18 months.
Yeah, 18 to 22 months later.
And we had the first class series out in a box set. And we had published book 1 in the Sky Romance novel series, and AJ had just come out with their first standalone novel, He's No Saint. So we decided that we were going to do another free promotion. And so we talked to our romance blogger network and we got it all set up. So they were pimping really hard for our free book weekend. And we were hoping to send all of these people to get our new box set, First Class Family. And we also had set it up so that we were sending out an email to almost 1 million romance readers. So this was going to be a big, exciting weekend for us. Also, AJ was having so much fun with her new career as an author that she decided that she wanted to take a bigger part in the romance author community. So she joined a national writers organization, and we had decided that we were going to go out to our first local chapter meeting. So we drove out to the community college that looked like a little bit like this room here, except it was filled with romance authors instead of college kids. And we were the first ones to arrive, and we were greeted by the officers of the club, and we got a really nice, warm welcome, and they chatted with us, and somebody walked up and offered us their business card and said, you know, we can help you with the marketing of your book when you get it finished. And you know, we were just having fun meeting lots of people. And then the meeting started, and there was on the board, there was a sentence, and the officer conducting the meeting asked us to take a little bit of time and see if we could improve on that sentence. And so everybody played with it for a minute, and after about a 10-15-minute English lesson,
which, by the way, was not accurate coming from an English major.
Okay, anyway, she asked the people in the group to stand up and share with them what achievements they'd accomplished since their last meeting. And so people got up and they said, oh, I finished 2 chapters in my book, or I just got an appointment with the publisher, or I've just been invited to add a novella to an anthology to raise money for a charity, or I've selected the cover art for my book. And all of these were great, wonderful goals that were really exciting and part of being, you know, an author. But I was really most concerned about how our promotion was going. So I got out my tablet and I logged into Amazon to check our sales. And I was excited because we had 500 more free downloads since we'd come in from the car. And then I clicked on a link and I discovered that AJ had just broken into the top 100 authors on Amazon at number 84. Out of all the thousands of authors on Amazon, for that hour of that day, she was the 84th bestseller. And it was really exciting. So I kind of showed AJ the tablet, and you know, her eyes got big, and then her smile got even bigger, and she says, really? Really? And I mean, we were just filled with pure joy and excitement at that moment. And so the author in front of us kind of turned around to see what was going on. So I showed her the tablet, and she goes, wow, congratulations. And then, you know, some other people started seeing what was going on. So we started showing people the number. Anyway, the person that was sharing their accomplishment at that moment finished speaking. So the conducting officer of the club looked at us and took a very stern tone. Do you have something you'd like to share with us?
I felt like I was being disciplined in middle school.
Anyway, so I said, yeah, AJ, go ahead, tell him. So she stands up and says, well, right now at this very minute, I have just broken into the Amazon top 100 authors. My book, First Class in New York, is the #1 most downloaded book in contemporary romance, and the #7 most downloaded free book in all of Amazon. And so, there was a little bit of applause and some great jobs. And then the woman conducting the meeting said, well, since none of us can top that, we may as well move on.
We have a kind of a statement question that's just come up, and we're going to address that here in just a moment.
What is it?
It's okay. Keep going.
Okay. All right. So, yep, I've lost my place.
The room went silent.
Oh, so she said that, and the room went silent as the icy frost of jealousy settled on the room.
So let me just clarify something here while we're here. It looks like the statement that was made was that unless you're on Amazon exclusively for 90 days under their KDP program, you can't offer free books on Amazon. There is a way around that. There is a strategy that we have used over and over again that can make your books free on Amazon. And that will be something that we'll address later on down the road. So I know that some people don't know this strategy, and it was a huge eye-opener for me too. So, stay with us.
Okay. So the sad fact was that as I looked around the room, that some of these authors had been struggling authors for over a decade. And when the meeting ended, not a single officer from the club spoke to us. No one asked us to join. No one even thanked us for coming. The woman who'd offered us marketing advice earlier walked by and picked up her card off the table and said, "You won't need this," as she walked by us to leave the room. So AJ and I went out to lunch to try to celebrate our happy day. And while we were, trying to celebrate and have a good time, we couldn't get past the dark cloud that was hanging over us, kind of like that Eeyore rain cloud that was just kind of spoiling our lunch. Maybe a better way to explain it is our frostbitten extremities still stung from the icy wave of jealousy that filled that room. Anyway, after discussing it for a while, we decided that it wasn't raw talent that made us different. It wasn't that we were more intelligent that made us different than the other authors in that room. It wasn't even our work ethic that made us different. Because the sad fact was that some of these authors had been working very, very, very hard for years and hadn't seen the success that we had seen. So what was it that made us different? We had and stuck to a marketing strategy. We didn't do everything right the first time, but we tried and we learned and we adapted and we tried again.
Like all businesses, we've had our ups and downs. But my author career is a business, and we run it like a business. It's not a hobby, it's a business. Some people say it takes money to make money, but you have to invest your time and money into the right things and then do it the right way. You can't just throw time and money at things and hope that it's going to work out. So, what do you think, Brad? Let's just jump into the 7 must-haves.
Yep, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get the slideshow working again. All right. The must-have #1. You must have a good product. You must have a good book. It doesn't have to be a literary work of art, but it does have to be marketable.
I'm never going to win a Pulitzer Prize. I've accepted that fact, even though I've dreamt about accepting it. And I think you get $1 million. I've dreamt about accepting that too. But you have to have a compelling story. You have to have an attractive cover. By the way, that's one of the things that we have tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and sort of not failed. And it's still a work in progress. But you have to have an attractive cover. And, it has to be a book that people are going to want to talk about with their friends and their relatives.
Yeah, you would think that this would be an obvious must-have, but now that people have seen us having a little bit of success, they've started to pop out their own books and upload them to Amazon, and they think that they're just going to get rich. And it hasn't happened yet for them. They're still waiting and waiting.
Yeah, if your friends and family can't even bear to read your book all the way through, or the person that you're paying somebody to read it, to either edit it or proofread it, and they can't will themselves to get through the book, you might have a problem.
Yeah, that's so true. We've had a few people come up to us and ask us to market their book for them. And then after reading it, we just knew that it wouldn't work.
Now, this is something that we actually can't help you with. Nobody can help you with, whether or not your book is brilliantly written or not. That's something that the writer has to do pretty much by themselves. But you can join a writer's club, or you can take writing courses at the community college, and certainly talk about your books with other authors, reviewers, and readers help a lot. I cannot tell you how much reader feedback helps me to improve a story, whether you use beta readers or ARCs or whatever it is. They've really helped me a lot. So, okay, let's move on to number 2.
Well, number 2 is pretty simple. You have to have your own website. This should become the center of your digital marketing universe. This should be the center of your marketing strategy, because everything starts here. All content should be disseminated from here, and all content should point back to here.
And I would recommend that you use your pen name or your writing name as your domain. We learned this one the hard way. My name is actually AJ Harmon, so it's not like I write under a pen name. But we decided to make the book series, First Class Novels, the brand. So we did firstclassnovels.com. And it worked, but not nearly as well as when we changed over and used ajharmon.com as our domain.
I consider myself a little bit of an SEO ninja, and I had some really solid on-page SEO strategies going on AJ's website. But some of the larger book blog sites were showing up higher in search results than her own website for her pen name. And then I found out that most of the search queries that were coming through looking for her pen name.
It's really hard at first. Believe it or not, I didn't used to have an ego. I know you're stunned, you're speechless. You're actually typing in right now going, I don't believe you. But it's true. I didn't want to be the brand. I didn't want AJ Harmon to be the brand. But now I am, and it's working. And you want to be your brand too.
The website is a tool. It's there to help you reach your goal. You can't just put up a website and expect it to draw millions of visitors. It's the engine in your digital marketing strategy. And if it's the engine to your digital marketing strategy, then blog posts are the fuel.
But don't feel overwhelmed right this moment, really. Brad will show you later on how you can get help keeping your blog posts up and your website fueled. So, okay, what's next?
What's next? Must have number 3 is you must have a Facebook page. Now, I like to think of this as your customer relations dashboard.
Okay, now here I'm going to say this again. I recommend setting up a profile and a page under your pen name or your writing name. Help readers find you and help hide your real profile from the weirdos and the stalkers by having a pen name page and profile.
The difference between a profile and a page is its intent. A profile is used to communicate with friends and to communicate with other people on Facebook, while a page is a social platform for a business or an organization. You as an author need an author page on Facebook. The fastest way to tell the difference between a page and a profile is you request a friend on a profile and you like a Facebook page. Some people even call them like pages, right, AJ?
Yep, that's what I call them. I call them my like page and my work page. I have a profile under my pen name, AJ Harmon, to keep those pesky little Pakistani men who want to be my friend away from my personal profile. On my personal profile, I have pictures of my children, my nieces and my nephews. I have personal stuff that I deal with my parents. And you know what? I do not want my mother seeing all of my teaser pics in her news feed. I might be disinherited, maybe. Do you think I'd be disinherited? But anyway, all of that content starts on my like page, and then I share it out over my pen name profile a little bit later, but I don't have to if I don't want to. And that way it all stays separate from my personal page.
Another big difference between a page and a profile is you can't initiate communication with your followers from a page, but you can from a profile. You shouldn't start any marketing content on your profile. This is against Facebook's terms of service, and they can close down your account and you can lose all of your friends and followers. Start all marketing threads on your like page and then share them on your pen name profile if you want to.
This gives you a chance to separate your work from your friends. So I call my pen name profile, that's my work page. That's where all of my work friends are. Facebook has played a huge part in building my readership. Facebook page takeovers, romance blogger network relations, having fun with my readers. I keep it all separate and I keep everyone happy. With the exception, Felicia Tatum, that I just saw your post, of all of the Pakistani men who think that I am beautiful and want to marry me. And you know what? I think that the same men that want to marry me want to marry you too. So there might be a problem there. I think we should all just block them.
Okay, that's a little TMI.
Okay, but anyway, so we should probably move on to number 4.
Okay, you must have a Google account. A Google account helps you have Google+, Gmail, Google Alerts, Google Authorship, and a YouTube channel. These are all connected under the same Google account. I know what you're saying. You're saying, I already have email and I already have Facebook. I don't need a Google account. Yes, you do. Google is the big dog on the internet, and you need the big dog to be your friend and not spend its time biting you on the ass. Google account is a good start, and I can show you later how to use some of these tools. Just know that you need to have these tools in your digital marketing toolbox.
And okay, put the page on repeat. I mean, I'm going to say it again. Set it all up under your pen name or your writer name. Google authorship can help your SEO, and you want to rank in search results for your pen name.
You really do need to use Google tools a lot to get your website to show up in search results. Videos are almost a must-have, so you need a YouTube account. Google Webmaster Tools are important for SEO. Google Alerts lets you know when somebody has blogged about you or written a review about your book, or heaven forbid, somebody has pirated your book. If you don't want another email account that you have to check all the time, no problem. Just forward your Gmail account to your current inbox.
And I'm going to admit it, I do not mess with my Google accounts at all. I let Brad deal with them all. He posts to them. He does everything. I just watch my book trailers over and over and over again on YouTube, and it helps me get in the mood for writing.
What? You don't watch your book trailers. You watch puppy and cat videos all day. I checked your viewer history.
Yes, you may have checked my viewer history, but that's after I've deleted the Thunder from Down Under videos.
Okay, that's more than I wanted to know. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is you must have, and this is my favorite, you must have digital press release syndication. You are a nobody until the news says you're a somebody. So you need to start the conversation with a press release to get yourself into the news.
Okay, so I will never forget the first time the CNN iReport press release link popped posted to my Facebook page. Brad posted it to my Facebook page for me. It had a picture of me next to the CNN logo, and my sister saw it. It was hysterical. I get this message on Facebook that says, "Oh my gosh, you're so famous. Are you rich too?" So, you know, I was neither famous nor rich. I basically just quit my job and was still praying, crossing fingers and toes that the author gig was actually going to work out for me. I did not want to go back to the 9-to-5 job. I was desperate not to go back to that job. And press releases psychologically helped me see myself as a real author.
Yeah, early on, I did such a good job with the press releases that even I was starting to think you were somebody special. But now I know you are.
Yeah, thanks so much.
We've learned it the hard way that it takes just as much work to write a press release and put it on a free press release site and have that article go nowhere as it does to work really hard and put it on an expensive site and have it go almost nowhere. So what we've done is we've found 2 press release syndication sites that work really well. They help us get the word out about our products and events, and as a bonus, they help us build great backlinks to our website. We put out a press release like this one that we did for Passion in Portland, and then we get this report. This is 1 page of a 5 to 10 page report that we get back every time we put out a press release that shows us the newspapers and TV news websites that have picked up our press release. And they're picked up from all across the country: Boston, New Mexico, Miami, California. And of course, this one was also picked up by the Olympian for a Northwest event, having it show up in the Olympian blog. And of course, I was really excited to see that it was picked up by the Denver Post, the newspaper I used to deliver as a little boy. But the other important part about this is that thousands of people got to see our headline. Even if they may not have read the whole article, they at least got to see the headline. And it built hundreds and hundreds of high authority backlinks to our website.
Brad, you should probably step in here and talk about backlinks. Why do we need them, and how do they help? How do they work?
Well, backlinks is an SEO term that's used to refer to the links that are on other people's sites that refer back to your website. Google and other search engines use these links kind of like a popularity vote. Yes, we're all back in high school. You remember how the popular girls were the ones that everybody was talking about?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Search engines are the same way. They want to see other sites talking about your sites. And if you're on an important news site and they have links back to your website, you must be important, because news sites only deal with important things, right?
I think so.
This diagram here is what they call the new SEO strategy. Now, you have to realize that content is king. So you put content out on your website, and then you share that out across all different kinds of social media, and that helps build backlinks to your website. The problem is this strategy is exactly what everybody else is doing. Now, if you're putting out press releases and those press releases are getting picked up all across the country and they're doing links back to your website, you're going to be ahead of the game and you're going to win.
I see that some of you are kind of posting in here. It's a little overwhelming. This particular SEO and stuff, this is pretty hard. Press releases are something that people struggle with, but stick with us here. It's okay. Now, Brad, you like to repost press releases from local news sites onto my websites. Why do you do that?
Well, I do that for a reason. This is a picture of the SEO strategy, the off-page SEO strategy that we use for your website. Yes, they do ping back, Shay. They do ping back to those websites. So it helps build your authenticity. But what we've learned is that important people talk about the news. I mean, unimportant people talk about other people, but important people talk about the news and what's happening. So when the search engines see links on important news sites about you, it thinks that you're important and it raises your status in Google's eyes. And the more backlinks that you can have from news sites to your website, the better your rank and the better you'll show up in search results. Oh, and another bonus, on a really slow news day, one of the reporters just might read your press release and give you a call and give you a little bit of free publicity.
And everybody wants free publicity. So let's move on to number 6. And it is a must-have after you've got the other 5 in place. You have to set up a blogger network. Now, there may be some of you, on here that are already bloggers. Diane, I know that you're overwhelmed. Press releases are something that it's taken me over a year to really understand. So it's not, I understand that, in 5 minutes it's going to be overwhelming, but just hang on with us. So number 6, blogger networks. If you have not done the first 5 things, you don't have anything to share with the bloggers. So the bloggers share my posts, they share my press releases, they share my videos from YouTube, they share my teaser pics, they share release party dates, book reviews, book releases. I mean, I could go on and on. I really could.
Now, AJ, our blogger network has always kind of been your baby. You've kind of nurtured it like it was one of our children.
Well, I have. And, I love my blogger network like I love my children. When nobody believed, and I'm going to include my family in this, my extended family, when nobody believed that I was the real deal, that I was really an author, that I was really publishing books, the bloggers did. The bloggers received me and welcomed me and loved me and supported me. And, it was amazing. I shared with them useful content, videos, book promotions, teasers, additional content, and swag with these bloggers, and they pimped me to their followers all day long.
Your blog network didn't just materialize overnight. How did you build your blog network?
I built it over a long period of time, and I continue to build it. I mean, it's an ongoing thing. It's a daily process. I treat bloggers like real people. I know that some of you are bloggers, and I know that some of you feel like you're just used and abused by authors who all they want is for you to pimp them and do nothing in return. But you have to treat your bloggers as your friends, as your family, and not just a tool in your quest to build a readership. I want to have a relationship with each of those bloggers, and that's something that I work on every day. I contact them one at a time, and I give them promos and content and offers of takeovers and giveaways, and I ask their opinions on my books, and I give away a ton of digital downloads to their followers and a ton of swag.
Now, AJ, some of these women that are in your blog network, they become your good friends now, right?
Oh, hey, I got Heather. Where's my Heather? Shout out to Heather from Carver's Book Cravings. I mean, I meet with this fab lady. I mean, she's one of my friends. She was a blogger. She's now my author buddy too. But I mean, she's just one example of a blogger that's become a friend. I have bloggers that are on my street team. I have bloggers who I start from one end and they start at the other end. Like the movie 10 with Bo Derek and is it Dudley Moore? And they're running across the beach, and you've got the hair swinging and the boobs bouncing around. I mean, that's how we start at each other at the ballrooms of these signings. And we run to each other in slow motion and we hug each other. And it's like meeting old friends, that you haven't seen for forever. And it's just they're my friends. Them, they're my buds.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel a little jealous here.
That's
Another
because you don't have boobs to bounce around. All right, never mind. Let's move on.
Another important thing to remember about the Blogger Network is when they post your content, it also helps create backlinks to your websites, which can help you with your SEO. I remember, early on when we did a video blitz with our blog network, and I had just finished backlinking all of our videos to our Amazon book pages. And we had a huge jump in search results on Amazon for a few weeks, and then sales really jumped too. And now it only lasted about a month or so, but it really helped out a lot, and it helped out during a time when we really needed it.
Yeah, but it also gave us an Amazon bestseller in First Class Hero. I mean, that book shot up. I mean, it was insane. It shot up, and we had an instant Amazon bestseller in that book. So that was pretty cool. I love my Blogger Network. I don't know if you've got that yet. I'm not quite sure that I expressed how much I love my Blogger Network, but they have been a huge help in getting my name and my books in front of readers. And this is where Google Alerts can help you too, because it lets you know when someone has blogged about you, good or even a bad review. You get that alert and you can reach out to them, thank them, perhaps even win them over, and the next review is going to be a great one.
Okay, let's move on. Number 7.
Can we answer one more
Sure,
question? Rebecca has a question. So do you keep your Blogger Network limited so that you can be true and real? I keep my street team limited so that I can have people on my street team who are there for genuine reasons. They actually read my books and they love my books, and we've become friends. As far as the Blogger networks, I'm a pretty extroverted person anyway. You may not have picked that up in this broadcast yet, but I'm pretty much an extrovert anyway, and I love 99% of people. If I hate you, you already know that, but I really love people. So my Blogger network is actually quite large, but I've had maybe only 2 occasions where I've had a blogger and I not really see eye to eye on something. And out of hundreds of blogs, I think that's a really good low percentage.
Well, and they just kind of call themselves anyway. Don't they just stop responding to you if they don't like you? So you just drop them from your network.
But I think if you're a true and genuine person, I think as long as you're not just using and using and using, as long as you're giving in return and that you make it a two-way relationship, I think your Blogger network can be as large or as small as you want it to be.
All right, the next one is very important for your Blogger network and very important for your search engine optimization. It's putting up regular blog posts to your website. Bloggers need content that they can share with their fans. So why shouldn't they be sharing your stuff? Also, Google needs to see fresh content on your website regularly to prove that you're still relevant. If you don't put anything on your website regularly, Google thinks that you're old, tired, boring, and out of date. And so when people are searching for books, they show other sites that have fresh content on them while yours withers away to dust.
I'll be honest, this has always been really hard for me because I want to write books. I don't want to write blog posts. And Google wants more and more and more and more to keep the site fresh.
That's true. When I first started SEO, 6 years ago, Google only wanted about 300 words per post, and they wanted your keyword density to be about 2 to 3%. Then it jumped up to about 500 words per post, and now Google wants around 900 words per post with a relative keyword density of around 10%. And they also want to see images in your post and videos in your post before they'll even think about ranking it. And you know what? I've figured out a formula that cuts your time and efforts way down on that. But I'll share that with you a little later. We're trying to get the dog quiet. We'll share that with you a little later when I talk about what we can do when we work together to sell more books.
Okay, so that's number 7, but you promised them a bonus must-have, right? So what is it?
Well, number 8 is you must have a strategic marketing calendar and stick to it.
So Sabrina, you just asked a question of what do you consider regular? I think this is gonna fit in right to the marketing calendar.
So you need to have your marketing calendar so that you calendar that you have regular posts. Now, regular depends on you and your readership, but you should probably put something up at least once a week to help you with your Google searches. And that should be part of your marketing calendar. The hardest part is sticking to your calendar.
You know, staying committed to the plan, that's the hard part. You know, we're not, as an indie author, indie authors, we are not really accountable to anyone but ourselves. So, you know, if I don't feel like doing something, I just blow it off. It's not like I'm going to fire myself. And the consequences don't show up today. And they probably don't even show up tomorrow, or maybe even by the end of the week, but next week and next month. And that those delays are big, that it's going to delay your big payday the longer that you put things off and off.
That's so true. You know, I spend a lot of time doing marketing for my clients, and I quite often blow off my own marketing to-do list. You know, it's kind of like the cobbler with the kids who have the children with the bare feet. That's the kind of thing I've got going on, and it really doesn't work. Humans are creatures of habit. We need to have a calendar and then execute on these items every day until it becomes a good habit. Having your strategic marketing calendar can help you avoid useless acts of advertising. You know how you sometimes get that panicky feeling because you haven't done any marketing lately, so you know you should do something. So what, you go by 10,000 tweets to your website when there's really nothing to draw potential readers, but it was cheap and at least it made you feel good because you did something right. Having a calendar helps you avoid that. It also helps you to recruit help because you don't want to be doing this all by yourself. You want to be able to eliminate the time wasters and do what you should do next on your marketing calendar.
You know, and another bonus must-have is you have to invest a little bit of time and a little bit of money in yourself and your team so that you can learn to do it right the first or second time and not keep wasting time and money over and over and over again on things that don't work or provide you any value.
You know, that's a good one, AJ. We invest what? A dozen hours a week learning new marketing techniques and adapting and changing to the marketplace and picking up new technologies.
I know. I mean, you're always saying to me, guess what Google just did? You know, or guess what Amazon just did? Or guess what YouTube just did?
Yep, and it takes time to keep up on all of that.
So I think that we have, I hope that we've delivered on our promise. Did we deliver on our promise that we have given you 7 must-haves? I think that we did. So let's go through them again. Number 1, Brad.
Well, you must have a good product. It must be a good book and it must be marketable. And it helps to have it published on Amazon or iTunes or somewhere.
You know, number 2, you have to have your own website and your own blog. They can be on the same thing. And they have to have your pen name as the domain, or at least they should. Number 3, Brad.
You need a Facebook page and profile, preferably in your pen name.
Number 4 is you have to have a Google account. You have to have G+. You have to have alerts. You have to have authorship, and you have to have YouTube. Number 5, the one that we've got a lot of comments on.
This is my favorite, digital press release syndication. This is an important part of your digital marketing strategy.
Okay, number 6, my personal favorite after number 1, having a good product, you have to build a blogger network. And then number 7, the one that I struggle with personally, you have to have regular blog content about you and your books.
And of course, bonus number 8 strategy is you need to have a strategic marketing calendar that helps you stay on track and get this all done. All right. I think we need to get a report back. So I see a lot of people saying, yes, we've done a good job of reporting on things. Well, that's good. Now, it's possible that none of this was a surprise to you. More than likely, very little of this was news to you. But have you ever looked at it all as a whole, as one big picture? Or have you just always looked at those things as separate little tasks that were on your to-do list that you didn't know why you were supposed to do them, but you kind of knew you needed to do them? So we hope we've helped clarify that a little bit. So now we're going to take a little time. We've had a lot of questions pop up, and I'm going to scroll back through here and see if I can find some questions and see if we can answer them real quick.
Now, you guys are really lucky because I don't usually let Brad answer questions for free because he charges quite a bit of money an hour to answer questions for free. But, you got him. You got him online. So ask your questions now.
Okay, we've got a question here. My website is on wix.com. Do you have a pen name? It's under your pen name. It is under your pen name, and you have Google accounts. Oh, yeah, that should work just fine for you. Wix will make it a little bit hard for you to post certain things to your site, but if you've learned and mastered the skills to work with that, that's a okay platform. Let's see what else we have here.
What do we consider regular posts?
Well, we kind of answered that a little bit ago. I would do a minimum of once a week if I could. Now, once a month is better than nothing. Twice a month is better than once a month. Once a week is good. For some of my professional clients, we're blogging every other day for them because they just have, one, that many keywords they need to rank for, and two, it's such a competitive market that if they don't have out the latest, freshest information, it doesn't work for them.
Other way. There you go. I just saw one. Scroll down a little bit.
What to blog about? That's a good question. What one did you see? The questions are coming in too fast for our little screen. Sorry.
So one of them said that somebody had a relative that said advertising should be short and sweet. I think Brad touched on that. There's kind of a word count.
Well, there's a difference between advertising and marketing.
Right.
And so advertising is when you promote a product or an event, and advertising that way should always be short and sweet. But when it comes to marketing, you're trying to establish yourself as the authority, as the author to read in your niche. And that takes a little bit of time, a little bit of bonding, a little bit of work. And so I believe in what we call content and authority marketing, and that takes regular content. And it also helps you with your Google search.
Okay, so what all should be on the marketing calendar? This is why I have a digital DOM.
Well, at least the 7 things we've talked about tonight should be on your marketing calendar. But you should schedule your posts. You should look at your calendar and first of all pick out the big things. So when is your next signing event that you're going to? When is your next book release? When is your next something that's newsworthy coming out? And those need to be in your calendar. And you need to start talking about those weeks ahead of time to generate some interest and some excitement about them. But then you need to also, calendar regular posts to your Facebook page. It's fun to get on there and, find the latest cat or dog video and post those occasionally. But also you need to have a strategic plan for what you're going to put up about your teasers and what you're going to put up about your book posts and what information's going on in your author career that's relevant to the readers. That all has to be part of your marketing plan. Okay,
so there's a question here that I see. It says you make it part of your job, right? You set aside time and dates to post, right? When I worked a 9-to-5 job, I had a calendar. And in that calendar it was, okay, today I have to do payroll. Today I have to cut checks. Today I have to pay, taxes. I mean, you do all of that in a regular 9-to-5 job. Writing is a job. And so we
hope it's a career.
Right. And while I still struggle with it, I mean, I am in no way implying that I have mastered this at all. But it's the same thing. You know, you have to say, okay, so I have to set aside 15 minutes a day to check this. Or, you know, I'm the girl who sits down and says, oh, I'm going to go through my email and I'm going to check my Facebook messages. And 4 hours later, you know, I'm like, what the hell just happened to the morning? You know, so you actually have to set, you know, your time limits. You have to set a calendar. I have a calendar that I've shared with Brad and with my personal assistant. And so, you know, you can look at that calendar. And so Brad can say, you know, on Monday morning at 10 a.m., I need you to blog a 900-word post about whatever.
I give her the keywords.
Yeah, he gives me the keywords. He says, this is what you need to blog about. You need to somehow incorporate these keywords into your blog. And again, I really suck at it because I would much prefer to either write my book or play on Facebook. That's just or shop on Amazon. You know, those are what I love to do. So you really
Zulily, that's your new big one.
Zulily and Ideal. Yeah, I know. Those are my big ones. But, you know, I mean, you have to really sit down and treat your writing like a job.
Okay, so I want to be respectful of your time. It looks like we got most of the questions. What platform there's a new, what platform do you suggest for websites? Is that the question you're asking? What platform do we suggest for websites? I like to do websites in WordPress because technologically they're easier than doing Java pages, and they also show up better in searches than Java pages. And they're easier to do than Joomla. So I prefer WordPress because it does have the built-in blog component. As far as a hosting company, we like to use Bluehost. They have good prices and a solid system, and they keep our site up really well. I hope that was what you were asking. Oh, yes, good. You're welcome.
Okay, so where do you get said keywords? Well, you pay somebody to give you your keywords. I mean, basically,
no, you can go to
Google AdWords, but you know what Brad does for a living is you know, he provides keywords to people. That's part of what he does. But you know, you can find what's trending.
Yeah, you want to look for what's trending in your industry. I mean, if you're writing paranormal romances, you don't want to be worrying about keywords that are for the bodice ripper, you know, the historical romances. They're totally different keywords. So you want to be focusing on, you know, vampires and werewolves and, you know, things like that. Where if you're writing contemporary romance, you know. Now, the most important keywords that any of us can search for, but we can't really rank for, is free ebook downloads. We cannot beat Amazon and we cannot beat BookBub for those keywords. They're paying way too much money and spending way too much money, making it impossible for us little guys to rank for those keywords. So it's a good thing that we're teamed up with at least one of those people.
But you know, something that I have done before is I go into my Twitter account and I see what's trending on the side. And if you're going to post something that day, check what's trending.
Yep.
You know,
it's a good strategy.
I mean, that's an easy way to find, you know, what's trending today. So if hashtag sexy romance novel is trending, then, you know, for goodness sake, write a 900-word blog post about sexy romance novels, you know.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we want to be respectful of your time, and we'll give you another chance for some more questions in a minute. I want to go on now and share with you how we can maybe work together to sell more books. Is that something that everybody might be interested in? Would you like to sell more books? Okay. So here's the dream, right? The dream is you write a good book, which all of you authors are writing a good book.
I love that you picked one of my good books. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
If you haven't read He's No Saint, I highly recommend it.
Oh, never mind. We won't go there. All right. So you write a good book.
With a sexy cover.
You write a good book and you put it on your website. You send out emails to all the romance readers in the world telling them that your book's out. You write a press release. This is the press release we just did for your book that came out on Monday. And
Wow.
you put them out, and then you wake up the next morning, and you've got the Amazon bestseller tag, right? And then you wait a couple of weeks, and boom, you've got your USA bestseller tag. Then you've got your Wall Street Journal bestseller tag, and then you get your New York Times bestseller ad. And then what? You wait 60 days, and all that money starts flowing into your bank account from the direct deposits from the online vendors, right? Is that the dream?
Well, it is the dream, unless you're on iTunes, and then it's only like 40 days.
Okay, so 40 to 60 days. Is that the dream that everybody wants? Okay, well, I agree with that. Well, I'm not a romance author, so my dream is just a little bit different than your dream. My dream is to own the next BookBub and the next Huffington Post built specifically for the romance novel industry. And why do I want to do that? So that I can provide the dream to those authors that are special to me, like you and all the other ones that are on this webinar this evening.
And the authors that damn well deserve it.
Yeah, that work so hard and struggle so much to get to do what we do to provide joy for other people. I want to help them with that dream. So let's look at what BookBub's strategy was. Authors needed to market their books. So they were giving KDP free books, and they were giving discount books, deals of the day and stuff, so that they could attract people to their books. So what did BookBub do? Well, they took and shared that content about free books and discounted digital books, and they shared that with people to build a list of readers. And what do they do with that list? They charge authors to use that list. They charge us quite a bit, don't they?
Oh, BookBub has taken quite a bit of our money.
So one of the questions that I ask is, why can't we as authors work together and build our own darn list? Then I look at Huffington Post. Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything that's written in the Huffington Post, but we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about business. And one of the things the Huffington Post does really, really well is they crank out a ton, I mean a ton of content that social media and the search engines love. And they do it with most of their contributing writers working for free. All those writers really want is the traffic back to their blogs, or they want exposure for their pet issue. That's all they want, and they're using the Huffington Post for that. They even write about how they write for free and how great it is to write for free. So what I would ask is, why can't we build a romance author news site where the romance authors supply the news about themselves, news about their next books, news about their recent events, news about the romance industry written by the people that care about it the most.
And that carry the romance industry.
So what I want to build is this. I want to build a central website where we can collect a list of romance readers and post and share romance news. And I want that supported, of course, by the social media and the Google strategies that we've already talked about, but by hundreds of author sites. Authors that are contributing their news, their events, and their book information to the site so they can get backlinks back to their site. I'm sorry, we didn't have enough room to put all the arrows on this diagram that belong on this diagram. There are arrows going every direction on this. And then I want that supported by syndicated news distribution all across the digital news networks. That's my goal. That's my dream.
And I'm going to spend the money.
And thank you. And the way I came up with this was I actually work with two of the best search engine optimization and digital business guys in the world. They're both out of England, and don't worry, none of us can really afford to work with them. They charge about 10 grand a day to work with them. I had to go through a group coaching session, but I built the strategy based off of their million-dollar strategy that they're making tons of money with. So we've got the idea and the dream right. So how do we get from here, where we are, to that dream? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to find a group of authors that are willing and able to work together. I think that's what we're trying to do tonight, right?
Well, I mean, it's if you've been on Facebook, you know that there's middle school crap and drama that goes on all the time. This is not the place that that's going to happen.
No,
this is professional adults working together to build
a romance author career
empire.
And then we need to take and we need to teach those people just a few basics of digital marketing skills so that they can contribute to the system and feel comfortable and feel valuable and get a return for what they're doing. And then we need to start small and grow fast. So I'd like to introduce to you this evening my new baby, my romance author digital marketing co-op. Now, the first item of business for our digital marketing co-op would be to have an author website network that we can connect to our money site, the news site, and the list building site. And then we need to get all of their social media assets up to par. So how do we do that? Well, we'll need to have a digital marketing training center. And here it is. The Romance Author Digital Marketing Co-op Training Center. So the first section deals with marketing core fundamentals. Now, some of these things you may already know, but I'm sure that you'll pick up a pointer or two that might help you with your marketing strategy.
Or find a pin or something that connects two ideas
together
that
haven't
been quite there.
Yep. And then the next section is some more advanced strategies, which it deals with your marketing calendar, how to write press releases, how to submit them, how to do Facebook ads, what you should do prior to an author event, and the things that we've learned about how to get on BookBub, and the things that we're learning right now as we're publishing our first audio book. I mean, these are all things that we're going to share in the membership site. But we've also got room to grow in the future. I would like to have digital mastermind events where groups of 6 to 10 authors get together and they brainstorm and they share their marketing ideas and they work together and they hold each other accountable for completing their marketing strategy. And most importantly, they give each other high fives for getting it done.
And I'd like to add something in here that Brad has not created a slide for, but I would like to add that this would be a safe place for authors to come together where there's no jealousy, there's no backstabbing. It's a safe place to say, even, I have a problem with a scene in my book. Can somebody, can we talk about this?
Well,
sure. It's a safe place where we respect each other. And
that's why we keep the mastermind small and we keep them niche related.
And it's also a closed group.
Yep. And then I'm working on building it into the way so that we can have the Do It With Me module. Now, I know Andrea's a little worried about that, but
I didn't think we were getting into kinky stuff in this one.
No. But if you're struggling with some stuff, you can schedule an appointment and we can work together online via technology to get you past your technology problem. And I can teach you how to do it so you can do it in the future so you're not having to pay someone to do it all the time or, pay me tons of money to do it for you. So these are the things that we put together. Now, these classes that I'm putting together, we do similar classes, and classes like this sell on Udemy, which is a big digital classroom site. They sell anywhere, for Facebook, anywhere from $199 to $300 per class. And then here's some website training for WordPress. It looks like they sell from $99 to $200. Well, there's a $27 one, but I don't think Tazili speaks English.
No, I'm sure he doesn't.
And then here's YouTube training, and that goes, from $199 to $300. So this training, we want to put it out there and make it available for authors in a way that they can afford it. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking, because this is exactly what AJ would be thinking.
I'm not thinking it, I'm saying it out loud.
I don't want to do this stuff. I'm a writer. I don't want to be a digital marketer. And that's fine. And then some of you are also going, oh, I know how to do all this stuff already. I do it every day. My answer for both of you is the exact same thing. Use the RADMAR, Romance Author Digital Marketing Training Center, RADMAR. That's a cool name, I think. It's a rad name.
Well, you think it's a cool name because you came up with it.
Yeah. So use the RADMAR Training Center to train your personal assistant, so you don't have to do this stuff yourself. And if you already know it and you're doing it yourself, stop doing it. Spend your time writing a book and let us help you train somebody to do it, and then you can use your knowledge just to supervise them.
And let me tell you, my personal assistant will be in this program. There is no doubt about it that she will be, if she wants to stay my personal assistant, she'll be going through this training. And, you know, I just brought up personal assistants. If there's some of you that want to talk about PAs, I know that that's a huge conversation. That's for another time, but I'm more than happy to talk about PAs with you, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, AJ has two of them, one that she pays and then me. So I don't know how that works.
Technically, I have 3.
Oh, yeah. All right. Our son does jump when you yell, how high?
Diane, you just say, sheesh, you wish you had a PA. We'll talk.
We need to grow you into that. We need to help you grow into that. All right. So if you're thinking about the Romance Author Co-op, you need to be asking yourself a few questions. How much is my time worth? How important is a digital marketing strategy to your goals as an author? And how much would having someone on your team with this knowledge be worth to you and be worth to your future?
Do you have a teenage child that you could put through this program?
In a minute or two, I'm going to show you how you can become a founding member of the RADMAR Co-op. But first, I want to talk a little bit more about press releases. I know when we did that, the chat box just kind of lit up, and there was plenty of excitement about the press releases in the chat box. So in this co-op, we're not only going to show you how to write them, but we're going to show you how to save money on their syndication. You have to be careful what syndication sites that you use, because some of them are like highway robbery. We use this site. We paid, you know, they advertise for $3.69 to $4.99. I think we paid more than that to go with this site. We didn't get much better distribution than we did on the free press release sites, and it was just a pain. We found 2 sites that work really well for us, and we'll share those with you. Now, blog content. A lot of you said, how much do I need to blog? What do we need to do? How often should I do it? We'll show you a way to get the most content for the minute invested. It's a technique that I've come up and that I use with my professional clients. I like to call it the Google plus YouTube whammy. And it's a strategy that helps us, you know, get a professional, do a little bit of content with them, and then repurpose it 3 or 4 times so that they can get the most bang for their buck. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how much is it, and can I afford it? Right?
Yes, you can.
Well, it's not going to be as much as it will be. When I finish putting all of this together, I plan on charging authors, when I take this up to open enrollment, I plan on charging them $99 a month to have